Hello everyone, this is Marjabeen Baloch and you're watching my YouTube channel Insani Ittihad, which aims to invoke a little bit of humanity in all of us. So today I'm going to talk about the topic that I've already discussed. Is regarding circumcision. Actually, there were a lot of comments on that video, and actually it was a conversation between me and this another individual who I presume is very anti-circumcision, and he actually suggested that circumcision should be banned altogether. First of all, I would like to say that these extreme polarized views are, what they do is they divide people, and they don't solve any problems or don't cater to any pressing issues of people, and they create more wider divides among people and eventually among communities. So saying, for people who say that every man should be circumcised, and for people who say no, circumcision should be banned altogether, I think are two polarized opinions, and in a way they're both wrong. Of course, circumcision is part of the two major Abrahamic religions, that is Islam and circumcision, for the reason that Abraham circumcised both his sons, Ishmael and Isaac. I'm not sure, I'm not quite sure, because these things are something taboo to talk about openly, and especially a woman would not know about this until she gets married and has a son of her own. Then she is more aware of such things. So I'm not sure if Christians are circumcised too, but if they are, I mean, this person who commented on my video, he said all the American children born in the hospitals are circumcised without having the consent of their parents, and it was also a big concern for him also. And he said that this is something which shouldn't be allowed. I agree with that fact, because now America is much more pluralistic, and there are many communities out there who don't necessarily circumcise. There is no tradition of the circumcision in their religion or in their culture, so that should be respected. And I hope there are many hospitals now, they take consent and ask people if they want their children, male children, to be circumcised on the birth. I feel circumcising the boy child at birth is much more safe, so to speak, that even if they use anesthesia or they don't use the anesthesia, it's easier for the wound to heal, because it's a young body, and obviously the cells are growing, the baby is growing, so the healing would happen much faster. And if the mother and the child, after C-section or even a delivery, they stay in the hospital for a week or 10-day period, it is an ideal time for healing of the wound of circumcision, as well as it is also a good time that a mother also sort of heals from her childbirth system, which is in itself is a huge bodily effect for a woman. I mean, she goes through a lot of pain, a lot of mental, physical stress, pain, and all sorts of things. And if she stays in the hospital and she's attended for, and all she has to do is to just feed her child, or sort of carry her child once in few hours, and then the child is taken care of the nursing staff, it actually gives a breathing space for a woman to heal up from this childbirth process. So I personally feel, and I was actually as a woman very much disappointed that this person can actually suggest that women shouldn't go to the hospital or give birth at home on their bed. Literally, he said that on bed, and just to make sure that the child is not circumcised. I That conversation, those comments actually made me realize that how the men of today's age and time. I mean, he said that he was 70, so I presume he is not from this age and time, but you know, we have evolved a lot from 70s, and you know, this is the time where we say technologically, sociologically, economically, we are well ahead of our ancient past ancestors. So I mean, having this conversation was very difficult for me as a woman, because one, he said that without, when circumcision is done without anesthesia, a poor child goes through a lot of pain. But you know, and then I said that, you know, there is a lot of pain that women also go through, whether it's their monthly cycle. We all know after puberty many girls go through a lot of pain. The childbirth pain is you know, I mean, I don't think a man can even comprehend what a woman goes through in those 9 months, and that 24 hours, sometimes 48 hours of labor pain, and then delivering a child is something only a woman can, you know, even imagine. And here was a guy who was saying that no, absolutely no, not even a single cut. And then the fact that I stressed that this cutting of the foreskin from that, you know, reproductive organ is a spiritual reminder for a man to act responsibly in terms of his sexuality, his masculinity, and his duty as a procreating agent. It's just for that. And you know, we need to understand how men can be you know, completely non-empathetic and non-concerning over what women go through in their, you know, lives, you know, with in regards to their reproductive, you know, responsibilities. I mean, when we talk about monthly cycles, so painful couple of days for many, you know, young girls and, you know, women. Then if there is genital mutilation practice going on in some communities, that's a very, you know, horrific sort of a thing. And it's not even recommended health wise. Research has proved that genital mutilation of women actually bars some women having childbirth issues and complications at birth, and having issues not conceiving. I mean, that nobody says that, you know, genital mutilation should be banned. Men don't rise up voices when it comes to, and I said actually that, you know, if pain is the case, then I think as a woman I would say, and if pain is this much a bad thing and people should not go through pain, then the first thing that we should ban is childbirth. You know, this is the most painful and horrific thing. You must, you know, ban it. But you know, the conversation actually led me to think that men don't feel that, you know, they should be held responsible for anything. I mean, for not showing the concern that, you know, this small cut of the foreskin can bring a huge amount of responsibility when it comes to exercising your, you know, sexual drives or something like that. uh, and then there was this thing that he raised that, you know, women of the West who had intimate relations with both circumcised and non-circumcised men say that they find it more pleasurable to have, you know, intimacy with a non-circumcised man. What does that mean? I mean, that pleasure, what does that mean? For men, this whole intimacy, this whole closeness, which some religious extremists say is just for procreation and nothing else, not for connecting two people spiritually. I mean, and some people say it's just fun. And I mean, procreation has nothing to do with people just, you know, men. I mean, people like Osho, I mean, the Hindu mystic, I guess, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, Osho. He was saying that whenever he feels like having a good time with a woman, he can just, exercise the intimate closeness with that woman, and then just, that's it. He should be free. Why should he get married or have that? And this actually hurts me, as not as a female but as a human. The institution of marriage gives uh, a responsible behavior, a source of, this this assurance that, whatever happens after, two people come very, very intimately close to each other, whatever happens afterwards, we both as individuals, adults, will be responsible for that future, whether in terms of having a pregnancy out of that intimacy, then both should be responsible of the child. I mean, it shouldn't be like men would just come in and say, okay, I had fun and I enjoyed the whole thing, and now I'm not responsible for this. And what the woman does is that, okay, fine, if I can handle the burden of raising this child and giving birth to this child, fine, but if I don't, I go on and I get an abortion. So in both the decisions of these two individuals, they're making grave immoral things. And I would, yes, I would go on and say that this is a sin. A man comes in, takes his enjoyment and everything, and then he just vanishes and says, no, sorry, I'm just committed to you for the enjoyment. I'm not committed to you for the responsibility of it. So you take care of it. And if the woman says, okay, fine, she has the means, financial means, and her family is supportive, and if she is able to take care of the child, she will raise that child as a single parent, most probably for her entire life. And then she would have to make a lot of sacrifices in terms of her career, in terms of her education, in terms of her life plans and goals. And then if she says, no, I will not compromise, and then she would be judged for, being a killer of babies, and going for a very, this gross procedure one doctor explained for the Senate Committee of the USA. And it was really very gross. And for the first time, I found out that this is very immoral, that you were sort of killing a life. And it was truly a very disgusting thing to hear. But nevertheless, we must understand that circumcision, or worshipping of Shiva Linga, and that union of Shiv and Parvati in that intimate way, and that idol which is depicting that union, is actually developing a human being's responsibility towards procreation, towards a small human being which is not only coming in the body of this woman, but it is also some way spiritually and physiologically related to a man. So I think as women, I think we need to think back. This conversation made me think back that how are we raising our male children? Are we giving them this sensitization of, how they should behave in terms of this huge, powerful ability to procreate? Or is this something that they see their reproductive organs and this ability as just having fun? I mean, this surge of watching porn, masturbation, or whatnot and whatnot, this tells a lack of the role a mother, I would say mother, I mean father, of course father is responsible, because at a certain age a boy child does not feel comfortable having a conversation with his mother. So then the father comes in. After puberty, you are growing up and you're realizing that you're a man, you would more relate to your father than your mother. You want to discuss things with your father more. That is, of course, the time that the father has to also play a huge responsibility, have a decent conversation with his son, and sort of make him understand what he will do in his life, and how he would take care of all these hormones driving his mind crazy, driving his body crazy. And this things need to be talked out with, a parent and child should have these taboo conversations. And especially in countries like Pakistan and all those conservative communities. And but before that, before puberty, when a child is innocent, a mother's role is very, very important. When we say, that there is this wonderful ad which used to come in Indian television, is that men don't cry, men don't express feeling of pain. Why not? I mean, it's okay if a man feels painful, like either psychologically, physically. It's fine. It's okay if a man cries. It's nothing wrong with that. But what's wrong with is that if a man is uncaring to inflict pain on any other human being, whether it's a man or a woman. But it's very ironic that, boys, and especially this guy, I was so shocked that he was okay with, and I said that, there is this pain in the first time when, a woman gets intimate with a man, and he said, oh, that can be resolved with medicine and all that, that's not an issue. So he doesn't consider that if a woman is in pain, that's okay, childbirth is okay, that is okay. But men shouldn't be circumcised. That gives you that mentality that men shouldn't be in pain. They shouldn't be in pain. They can only inflict pain on others, especially women. So women can bear pain as much she can. So that is something very natural, and that is put into their psyche, I think, from the very childhood, where when they're growing up, their mother's telling you can't be a crybaby, you can't say you are a boy, how can you say you are feeling pain or it hurts. Only a girl can say, oh, it hurts. So that mentality stays with them for the rest of their life, and that is a biggest factor in people and men raping women brutally, because they think that the women actually deserve this pain, and it's okay if they are doing this because they like it or they deserve it. This is how they are. And men are the ones who are the pain inflictors only, and nobody can inflict pain on them, as and it gets into their ego. And I think when your mind and your reproductive organ is filled with ego, you can only produce evil rapist kind of people. And this mentality has to be changed, I would say, more by women than men. Mothers have to play much more deeper and major role in raising their male children. And I hope that I make sense, and I hope that I'm not offending even that guy also. But I feel that his conversation, his comments sort of invoked my thought process also, and that's why I wanted to share this with you all guys. And I hope women who are listening to this, and men who are listening to this, give it a thought and think about it and talk about it and see how we can raise our children better, and how we can sanctify our most intimate private lives in our bedrooms, on our beds. How can we sanctify them? How can we make them holier and more caring and considerate of the other person? After all, that other person means something to us. That's why we are getting this much intimately close with that person, whether you're married or not. I mean, I'm not gonna go and judge people who are married or not married, but I strongly believe in the institution of marriage, as it provides a sense of reliability, security, and a psychological and physical well-being, not only to the two people involved, but the third human being which is on the way. So I feel that we should consider these sensitive things in a very mature way, and should deal with this life reality in a very mature and understanding way. Thank you very much. I hope whoever is listening, it helps them in any way. And thank you very much.